Welcome to Echoes of the Past, where history isn't just old, it's oddly fascinating.
From forgotten facts to bizarre backstories, we dig into the dusty corners of time
So
you don't have to.
I'm Jody Lynn, your amateur historian and full-time trivia hoarder.
And I'm Ephraim, here for the facts and the fun.
So let's rewind the clock and press play on the past. Welcome back to Echoes of the Past.
Tonight, we're diving into the darkness behind one of the world's most beloved and misunderstood celebrations.
Halloween, or All Hallows Night, a night where the line between the living and the dead grows thin, where spirits roam free and masks hide more than just faces.
From ancient bonfires blazing on Celtic hills to candy-coated suburban streets, Halloween has been many things, holy, horrifying, and heavily commercialized. But its roots run deep into the soil of ancient fear, reverence, and ritual.
So, grab your pumpkins, light a candle, and maybe leave one light on, because tonight we'll trace the story of Halloween from its blood-soaked beginnings to its modern-day masquerade.
This episode is sponsored by W Energy, because even when you're neck deep in the dark history of the dead, you still need a jolt of energy to keep growing.
Let's start with the ancient origins of Samhain, or Samhain, or however you want to say it really. Halloween's story begins over 2,000 years ago, long before Christianity and long before the word Halloween ever even existed. It began with the ancient Celts, who celebrated Samhain, the festival marking the end of harvest and the onset of winter, the season of decay and darkness. To the Celts, the year wasn't divided into months of endless routine. It was a wheel, and Samhain was the hinge upon which the year turned from light to shadow. They believed that during this liminal time, the barrier between the world of the living and the realm of the dead grew very thin, and the spirits of ancestors, and far worse things, could walk among them. Samhain was a time of rituals and fire, of bone and smoke. Across the mist-covered hills of Ireland and Scotland, massive bonfires were lit to honor the gods and to ward off evil. Herds of cattle, the community's lifeblood, were driven between twin fires to cleanse them before the brutal winter months. But there were darker rites too. Archaeological findings near the hill of Tara suggest that sacrifices, both animal and possibly human, were once offered during Samhain ceremonies. The Celts believed blood fed the gods who governed life and death, ensuring the land's fertility and the people's protection. In their worldview, death was not an ending, but a transaction, a grim but necessarily balanced. Villagers would disguise themselves in animal skins and skulls, believing the spirits that wandered the night would mistake them for one of their own and pass them by. Others wore masks carved from wood or smeared ash and blood on their faces, a grim camouflage against unseen dangers. It was also a time of prophecy and divination. Druid priests read omens in fire, in the flight of ravens, or in the entrails of slaughtered livestock. Many sought glimpses into the coming year, who would live, who would die, and whether the harvest would return. Not all spirits were welcome, though. Some were malicious. The Aosai, or fairy folk, who could bring illness, misfortune, or madness. The dead were honored, but the living were cautious. Food and drink were left on doorsteps as offerings, and hearth fires were extinguished and relit from sacred communal flames, symbolizing renewal and unity. Legend spoke of the Dullahan, a headless rider who roamed the countryside carrying his severed head, using its glowing eyes to see across the dark. Wherever he stopped, it was said someone would die soon after. Others whispered of the Morrigan, the goddess of battle and fate, who stalked the skies as raven, her wings dripping with the blood of fallen warriors. The Celts carved turnip lanterns, grotesque faces cut to scare away wandering spirits. Inside each one burned a coal taken from the Samhain fire, a fragment of safety against the black unknown. These lanterns were both protection and warning, a symbol that the dead were near, and not all who walked that night were human. Samhain was not a celebration of evil. It was a reckoning with mortality, a night when every sound in the darkness might be the whisper of an ancestor, or something that had never lived at all.
As Christianity spread through Europe, it absorbed and reshaped countless pagan traditions, and Samhain was no exception. The church, seeking to replace what could not fully erase, transformed the Festival of the Dead into something holy. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III designated November 1st as All Saints' Day, a time to honor the martyrs and the saints of the faith. Later, Pope Gregory IV extended the observance to the entire Christian world. The night before October 31st became All Hallows Eve, which would eventually shorten to Halloween.
I think All Hallows Eve still sounds better.
But despite the new name and holy purpose, the old superstitions never truly died. In villages across Britain and Ireland, people still believe that the souls of the departed return home that night. The church's prayers for the dead mingled with ancient pagan offerings, holy water replaced animal blood, and candles replaced bonfires. But the fear of death's nearness lingered in every flickering flame. During the Middle Ages, a practice known as souling emerged. The poor would go to door on All Hallows Eve, offering prayers for the souls of the household's dead in exchange for soul cakes, small spice pastries marked with a cross. This custom was meant to save souls from purgatory, but it also echoed the old Celtic offerings left for spirits in Samhain. Masks and disguises continue to appear too. Many dressed as saints or angels, but others wore grotesque costumes representing devils and lost souls. Mischief became common. Villagers would overturn carts, move gates, play pranks under the cover of the night. The church condemned these acts as sinful, yet they persisted because they were older than the church itself. Apparently, Tommy Wiseau is playing 7 Days to Die.
Is that what distracted you?
Yeah. The blending of pagan and Christian traditions created something new and strange. A night that was both sacred and sinister. All Hallows Eve was now a time to honor the dead, to remember the saints, and indulge in a little fear of what might still be lurking in the shadows.
As the centuries passed, All Hallows Eve continued to evolve across medieval Europe, changing shape with every culture it touched. The church's influence spread deep, but it couldn't wash away the superstition that clung to the night. In England, villagers kept Hallow Mass, but the eve before it became a time of superstition and unrest. Bells tolled for the souls in purgatory, while people lit candles in their windows to guide the dead home. Yet outside, the darkness teemed with mischief. Bonfires burned once more, though now they were called Hallow Fires. Effigies of demons were thrown into the flames, a symbolic triumph of the holy over the unholy. In Ireland and Scotland, older traditions endured in secret. Families continued to carve turnip lanterns known as punkies or bogies, and the youth went guising, dressing in outlandish costumes and visiting homes to demand offerings in exchange for songs, poems, or threats of mischief. This guising was the spiritual ancestor of modern trick-or-treating, like this. Fortune-telling games were also common. Women dropped molten lead into cold water to see what shape it took, revealing the profession of a future husband. Others peeled apples in a single strip and threw the skin over the shoulder. The shape it landed in was said to reveal the first initial of a distant lover. Some stared into mirrors by candlelight, hoping to glimpse a future spouse. But if the reflection showed a skull instead, it meant death before marriage. The Black Death of the 14th century added another layer of darkness. As plague swept across Europe, death became a constant presence. Festivals honoring the dead took an even more macabre tone. People danced in graveyards, painted skeletons on walls, and created haunting imagery, now known as the Dance Macabre, or the Dance of Death.
I'm pretty sure it's macabre.
I like macabre.
Okay.
A reminder that no matter one station in life, death would come for all. Halloween was no longer just about the appeasing the spirits. It was about acknowledging them, dancing with them, and mocking them in the face of inevitable mortality.
When European settlers across the Atlantic, they brought fragments of their Halloween customs with them. Though in the New World, they didn't all take root right away. In early colonial America, especially among Puritans, Halloween was seen as pagan and forbidden. The rigid faith of the colonies left little room for talk of spirits or superstition. But in the southern colonies, among the Irish and Scottish immigrants, the old beliefs quietly survived. By the 19th century, waves of Irish immigrants fleeing the Great Famine brought Samhain's legacy across the sea once more. It was here, in America, that Halloween began to transform into the holiday we know today. The Irish brought tales of Stingy Jack, a drunken trickster who fooled the devil himself. When Jack died, heaven wouldn't take him and hell refused him. Condemned to wander the earth, Jack carried a burning coal in a carved-out turnip to light his way, becoming known as a jack-o'-lantern. When the Irish immigrants arrived in America, they discovered a native fruit, the pumpkin, that was larger, easier to carve, and glowed beautifully from within. Thus, the jack-o'-lantern as we know it, was born.
It always throws me off when people call it a fruit.
Communities began to embrace the night once more. By the late 1800s, Halloween parties became popular in the U.S., especially among the young people. Games like bobbing for apples and telling ghost stories filled the night with laughter instead of fear. Yet mischief still lurked in the shadows. Vandalism, broken fences, and even small fires became a yearly ritual in many towns.
I have to ask, have you ever bobbed for apples?
No.
Okay. I did once, and I thought I was drowning myself.
During the earliest 20th century, cities sought to tame Halloween, turning it from a night of chaos into one of community. Schools, churches, and civics groups hosted parades and parties. The idea of trick-or-treating formally appeared in the 1920s and 1930s, borrowing from the old European souling and guising. Children went door to door in costume, promising not to play tricks in exchange for candy, a sweet deal for both sides. Halloween had survived persecution, rebranding, and centuries of change, but by the mid-1900s, it was on its way to becoming something bigger than ever, a cultural phenomenon.
Before we continue, I want to ask you. So we have Halloween in October, and then November we have Thanksgiving, and then Christmas follows, right?
Yeah.
And we both know that other countries like to do things like Krampus and the Naughty Boys.
Excuse me.
I can't remember what they're called, but they go around and steal people's shit.
Yeah.
The Yule Boys. The Yule Lads. There you go. Do you think that they were sad that they had to stop guising and playing tricks? So they were like, let's just continue.
Probably.
Okay. That's kind of what I've been thinking this whole time. I was like, I don't know if I should bring that up now or our Christmas ones. So, by the 1950s, Halloween was firmly cemented in American life. With the post-war baby boom, suburban neighborhoods were filled with children, the perfect environment for mass trick-or-treating. The once sacred and sinister night had become a festival of fun. Candy companies, costume makers, and toy manufacturers seized the opportunity. Individually wrapped candy bars became the standard after the 1970s. Spurred by fears of tampering and urban legends about poison treats, costume stores began to sell mass-produced plastic masks and vinyl outfits, witches, ghosts, skeletons, and movie monsters. Television and film transformed Halloween into a cultural juggernaut, from It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, to John Carpenter's Halloween in 1978. The holiday began to embody both innocence and terror, a dual nature that echoed its ancient roots. Behind the glittering costumes and candy wrappers, though, the old echoes remained. The bonfires became backyard fire pits, the turnips became pumpkins, and the spirits became stories. The masks were new, but the reason for wearing them was the same, to celebrate life in the face of death. Okay, you and I were talking about part of this the other day. What person in their right mind is going to put their very expensive drugs in child's candy?
Nobody.
Okay.
Ain't nobody going to freaking poison your children or give them edibles. Stoners are not going to share their edibles without you paying for them first. And they're malicious people, but not to the point where they're going to put like razor blades in your fucking Snickers bar.
So I think the reason that is still a thing is because somebody did it. I heard one thing, or I read one thing where a dude in like the 70s or 80s either put broken glass in the candy or like very, very tiny nails or something like that like the kid ingested. So I think that's where that comes from. But the other shit, I have never actually read a case where that would have been an actual thing. I think people just say it every year because I know not CBS. What's the other one?
CBS?
It's like Fox News, but the other one.
CNN.
Thank you. CNN brings it up every single year and has since I was little. And I'm older than you, so it's been going on for a while. So I think it's just that the news outlets, the blood coming out of my nose, it's itchy. Anyways, I think the news outlets just keep rerunning the same thing every stinking year as like I wouldn't say a mass panic thing, but maybe like a mass paranoia.
Yeah.
Would be the right word. But yeah, you and I were talking about that. Also, if you can hear sirens, it's because it's apparently the apocalypse outside. Who'd have thunk?
I know. All right. Halloween's imagery has always walked the line between sacred and sinister. Each symbol a reflection of its deep past. The black cat, the witch, the jack-o'-lantern, all of them trace their roots back to superstition, folklore, and fear. The black cat, sleek and silent, was once seen as a sacred companion to Celtic goddesses. But during the Middle Ages, that reverence twisted into terror. The church, eager to stamp out paganism, declared cats to be familiars of witches, shape-shifted demons that spied for the devil. During the 13th and 14th centuries, black cats were hunted and burned alongside accused women. Ironically, when the bubonic plague swept Europe, the loss of cats allowed rat populations to explode, worsening the death toll.
Oh no, it's the consequences of my actions.
Then there are witches themselves, the enduring icons of Halloween. Before the witch became the hag with the hooked nose and pointed hat, she was the village healer, the midwife, and the herbalist. Often a woman who lived on the edges of society, her knowledge of herbs and the seasons tied her to the earth in the same way Samhain once did. But fear of her independence made her a target. The witch trials of Europe and colonial America marked one of humanity's darkest obsessions. Between the 15th and 18th centuries, more than 40,000 people, mostly women, were executed on charges of witchcraft. Torture devices like the witch's bridle and ducking stools were common. In Germany, entire towns were emptied by witch hunts. In Salem, Massachusetts...
You almost said it though.
Salem, Massachusetts. In 1692, hysteria claimed 20 innocent lives. The Halloween witch, flying across the night sky on a broom, became a grotesque echo of those women burned and broken beneath the weight of fear.
Didn't we already cover all the witch trials?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so if you want to hear more about that, you can go to one of our previous episodes on Spotify or YouTube, and we did cover the witch trials, and all over the world. It was not just America that they did this, by the way. Continue.
The jack-o'-lantern, carved now with laughter or menace, once had a darker meaning. Its grimace wasn't for decoration, but for protection, meant to frighten off wandering spirits or guide lost souls. The flickering light inside was a symbol of the soul itself, trapped between worlds, a candle in the darkness of the afterlife. Even the colors of Halloween, orange and black, tell the story of life and death. Orange for the harvest and the waning light of autumn, black for the encroaching winter for decay, and for the quiet stillness of the grave. The bats, drawn to the warmth of Samhain bonfires, forever became linked with the night's mysteries. The spider weaver webs symbolized fate and the fragile thread between life and death. And the owl, whose cry said to foretell death, was once believed to carry the souls of witches. Every costume, every flickering candle, every shadow cast by a jack-o'-lantern is a whisper from the past, a fragment of an older world that never truly died.
I'm not gonna lie, you started talking about the bats, and I thought about that TikTok sound where the little girl's like, it's freaking bats! Where she's talking about the bat decorations all over their living room.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that one.
It's cute. She gets so excited about there being bats all over the wall. It's really cute. Alright. Though Halloween, as we know it, is largely Western, the idea of honoring and fearing the dead is nearly universal. Across the world, countless cultures celebrate their own version of All Hallows Eve. In Mexico, the Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, transforms mourning into celebration. Families build altars called ofrendas, adorned with candles, marigolds, and sugar skulls. They leave food and drinks for departed loved ones, believing their spirits return to join in the feast. Skeletons, once terrifying, are now joyful, painted in bright colors to symbolize the cycle of life and death. In Japan, the festival of Obon?
I don't know.
We'll go with Obon. Honors ancestors with lanterns and dances. At the end of the celebration, families float paper lanterns. I need to know what's going on out there. I'm too nosy.
It'll probably pop up on the news.
Probably. Families float paper lanterns down rivers to guide the spirits back to their resting place. A hauntingly beautiful echo of the Celtic fires that once guided the dead through the mists of Samhain. In China, the Ghost Festival takes place on the 15th night of the 7th lunar month. People burn paper offerings, money, houses, even paper servants, so their ancestors may live comfortably in the spirit world. Food is left outside to appease wandering ghosts. In Italy, Ognissanti and Giorno dei Morti?
Giorno.
Giorno? Okay. I always
G, like the alphabet.
Okay. I always write these, and I always forget to put how to say the thing. So if I'm saying it incorrectly, I am very sorry. I'm not trying to offend. I'm going off of how it's written.
He's Italian. Italian.
Anyways, it's also called All Saints and All Souls Days. Are solemn but loving observances. Families visit cemeteries, light candles on graves, and bring pastries shaped like bones. Ossa de Morti, the bones of the dead. What are you doing? The bones of the dead. Good job. Good luck.
It's right here.
Even in places that don't celebrate Halloween directly, you'll find echoes of it. From Samhain festivals in modern Ireland and Scotland to the hungry ghost rituals of Singapore. Everywhere, humanity acknowledges the same truth. Death may be inevitable, but memory keeps us connected. Halloween is more than an American holiday. This is why we can't do anything serious. This right here. We are not serious people.
I'm very serious.
Everywhere, humanity acknowledges the same truth. Death may be inevitable, but memory keeps us connected. Halloween is more than an American holiday. It's part of an ancient human instinct to face death, to honor it, and maybe, just maybe, to mock it for a single night by wearing its face.
Should definitely look at the Japanese Halloween stuff. The costumes some people make are very immaculate.
Oh, I've seen them. They've been popping up on TikTok for me all month, and I love it so much. All right.
It's really good.
So, we are going to go into some spooky stories. So, now, before the candles burn too low, let's turn to the darker side of truth. The kind of stories that remind us why Halloween has always been a night for fear. Do you want to start the first one?
Sure. We got the Dancing Plague of 1518. In the city of Strasbourg, hundreds of people began to dance uncontrollably. Day and night, they twirled through the streets, foaming at the mouth, their feet bleeding. Some danced until they collapsed, others until they died. Historians still debate what caused it: mass hysteria, ergo poisoning, or something unhealthy moving through the crowd.
Unearthly. Same thing, though. That just... body things gross me out so bad. My father wanted me to be a nurse. Okay. The Well to Hell incident in 1989, a Russian drilling team in Siberia reportedly dug more than 9 miles into the earth. What they claimed to record sent chills around the world, human screams echoing from the depths. Scientists dismissed it as fabricated audio, but the story persists, whispering in late-night radio shows and dark corners of the web. The sound of souls in torment, buried beneath our feet. I'm just saying, if that actually happened, you've got 2 different reasons that could happen. If they recorded it, I'm going to assume that somebody buried somebody alive. Quite a few somebodies alive.
9 miles is pretty far down. They used a special drill for that. And the hole was only like that big.
I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know. I was going to say if they went down, then it's gas poisoning. But if you're saying they drilled it like that, then I never mind.
You should look it up. I'm reading this next one. Sawney's Bean's clan. In the 15th century, Scotland was terrorized by the legend of Alexander Sawney Bean, a cave-dwelling patriarch who, with his inbred clan, ambushed travelers, murdered them, and ate their flesh. When the king's men finally found their lair, they discovered piles of bones, limbs hanging from the walls like butchered livestock, and barrels of preserved meat. The entire clan, over 40 people, was executed without trial. Whether true or myth, the story captured humanity's oldest fear, becoming prey.
Yeah, I was right. Okay. So the Russian drilling with screams, that part, is an urban legend about a hoax often called the Well to Hell, claiming that scientists drilling in Siberia recorded the screams of the damned. This story is false, but it's more likely based on a misunderstanding or misrepresentation of the scientific findings from the real Kola Superdeep borehole, which encountered high temperatures and gases. The sounds heard were not screams, but the sounds of tectonic shifts or other natural geological phenomenon, and the Well to Hell recording was later proven to be a hoax compiled from various sound effects. But that's terrifying, though. If you don't know the backstory of that shit's terrifying. I'm sorry. Anyways, the Winchester Mystery House. I love this one. It's a great movie. Really a campy movie, but it's a good movie. Y'all should look it up. Built by Sarah Winchester, widow of the rifle magnate, the mansion is an architectural labyrinth. Staircases leading to nowhere, doors opening into walls, windows overlooking nothing. Sarah believed she was hunted by the spirits of those killed by her family's rifles. To appease them, she built constantly, day and night, for 38 years until her death. Even now, visitors claim to hear footsteps and hammering echoing through the walls.
Yeah, you can go visit that.
I want to so bad.
It's just like it says, just shit going to nowhere, stairs going up to nothing, windows that look at another wall inside. Just a bunch of nonsense. The Dyatlov Pass incident. In 1959, the Russian word pass incident.
Now I can't say because
9 experienced Russian hikers were found dead in the Ural Mountains. Their tent was shredded from the inside, their bodies scattered, some barefoot in the snow, others with fractured skulls or missing eyes and tongues. Radiation was detected on their clothes. Official explanations range from avalanche to secret weapons testing, but no theory has ever fit the evidence completely.
Okay, I want to hit on that one because that one right there, that one, I've looked up that one a lot. So I am going to say that I'm on the side of the secret weapons testing by Russia. They did let out that they were doing testing in the mountains.
Yeah.
They didn't say what kind of testing or anything like that, but they did say that they were. So I'm going to say that that's what it was. And then they just died after that. Out of either insanity or just going stupid. Yeah. What is your opinion on it?
I don't know. I mean, maybe weapons, but it's like barely turning to the 60s. And they're still more worried about like kind of rebuilding their stuff. And yeah, it's like the Cold War now. And so they're trying to outpace the U.S. But being that they're the Soviet Union, they're very far behind on their technologies at the time.
That's fair.
Everyone knows it was aliens.
Oh my god. Anyway, every generation has its horrors. Stories that burrow under the skin and linger like ghosts. Our little ghosties are trying to break through the bedroom door right now. Mm-hmm. And perhaps that's what Halloween truly celebrates. Our attempt to understand fear by inviting it inside for one night. From Samhain sacred fires to plastic pumpkins and porch lights. Halloween has worn many faces, but beneath it all, it's still the same ancient heartbeat, the pulse of fear, fascination, and the fragile line between life and death.
We celebrate now with laughter and candy, but those old spirits never are really gone. They're still here in the stories we tell, the shadows we chase, and the chills that creeps up your spine when the lights go out.
Thank you for joining us on this Halloween journey through history, myth, and the macabre. Macabre there. Happy?
Yeah, because that's how you say it. And remember, if you hear a knock at your door tonight, it may not be a trick-or-treater.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
And as always, stay curious. Thanks for wandering through history with us on Echoes of the Past.
If you liked what you heard, subscribe, rate us, and tell that one friend who still quotes fun facts at parties.
And remember, history may repeat itself.
But we promise not to.
See you in the next Echo.